Hi, I'm Dr. Maria Munoz, and I'm going to be talking to you about applying to the MS for Speech Language Pathology at the University of Redlands. I hope you find this information helpful as you start your journey to a graduate program. So today what I'll talk about is communication sciences and disorders at the University of Redlands. We'll talk about pathways and prerequisites, the grad program, CSD admissions, and how to stay connected. So first, I want to talk about the Communication Science and Disorders program at the University of Redlands. Um, you can see our mission here. I'll give you a second to read through that. Um, and then I just want to hit some keywords. Um, Develop excellence in academics and community engagement. We want you to be successful both in the classroom, but also in your interactions with others, and how you connect with the community, which includes our clients, their families, your peers, um, schools, teachers, um, medical staff, people in the community. Uh, we emphasize liberal arts and science to develop thinking skills and communication abilities. There's a lot required to be a speech language pathologist. We straddle the lines between social science and natural science. We want you to be a critical thinker, and we all want you to be able to communicate your thoughts and your um, professional understandings clearly and compassionately. Uh, we work on collaborative relationships. This is students working together and faculty and students working together and and to the betterment of clients. So this is all about relationships, and we want to develop them to be personal and meaningful. We want you to be both caring and experts in your profession. Many people come to speech pathology because they want to help, um, and we encourage that. We want you to help. That's the caring part. But you also need to be an expert. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know how you're doing it. You need to know why you're doing it. And you need to know how it works, and what to do when it doesn't work. And that's all part of what we're trying to develop for you and with you. Our commitment is to create a supportive, collaborative environment for a personalized education. You will work with your group you'll get very close with your peers and the other people in your grad class. Um, and you'll be taking similar classes and with some exceptions, really close together in many things, especially the academic courses. But in the midst of that, we are individualized. What do you need? How can we help you be successful? What is going to aid your learning? Um, we foster close faculty-student relationships that help students bridge class and clinic, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. We provide a variety of mentored hands-on clinical experiences, and we'll talk more about that. And we want to ensure that the requirements are met for the ASHA certification, the California SLP licensure, and the Speech Language Pathology Services credential for CTC. So there's a lot of paperwork involved in becoming a speech pathologist. And we want to make sure that you meet all of the requirements for the different certifications and credentials and licensures that you're going to need to practice in the state of California. Um, this is our faculty and staff. You can learn more about us by going to our website. Main thing I want to point out here is that we do cover the range. If you are familiar with the ASHA Big Nine, we do cover the range of clinical expertise. Um, and we teach most of us do clinic in our areas of expertise. And so that's where the idea of bridging classroom and clinic. So my areas of expertise are adult neuro and bilingualism, multiculturalism. I teach the neuro class, and I teach one section a semester of the neuro clinic, with my clinic particularly focused on adults who are Spanish speaking or bilingual, who've had some kind of brain injury that's affected their speech or language or cognition. I do that in collaboration with Ms. Schuler, who does um, her focus is more motor speech. She does our Parkinson's clinic. She only works with English speakers. I work with both English speakers and Spanish and bilingual. Um, so everybody's working in their area of expertise. They're working in classes in areas that they're both teaching clinically and academically. Dr. Ilan Liu will be joining the faculty this fall. And her areas of expertise are AI applications, as well as voice and cleft palate speech. And we're real excited to see what she's going to bring, what experiences she's going to be able to introduce our students to. But everyone here is working hard to make sure that um, we're bridging that classroom and that clinic. I'll give you a second to look at those. Chris Mee is our clinic manager. She's someone who you'll work very closely with on clinical activities, checking out materials, knowing your schedule, submitting your documentations, things like that. We also are in the searching for an admin assistant. Hopefully that person will be in place by the time you apply. And that person will become very important for the admissions process, as well as the academic and credentialing parts of your program. So we have two pathways, and I also want to talk about the prerequisites in relation to those pathways. We have a two-year graduate program that's 60 credits, and that's the one most of you are interested in. This is 6 semesters um, for the Masters of Communication, Speech and Hearing, Speech and Sciences and Disorders. And that's going to prepare you with what you need to become a certified licensed speech language pathologist. Then we have the Grad Plus program, which is 80 credits, and this is a 3-year program. And this is for students who do not have the undergraduate background in speech pathology that they need to qualify for the graduate program, for the 2-year graduate program. The key thing here is when you enter the Grad Plus program, you are in graduate school. So as long as you maintain your minimum GPAs, we want you to have a 3.0 at the end of your post-bac year, if you want to call it that. You'll float right into the graduate program. You don't have to reapply. You are admitted to the graduate program as a Grad Plus student, and that's a benefit for doing it this way. So those are our two pathways: our 2-year grad program, and then our Grad Plus program that flows into this 2-year program. In terms of prerequisites, everybody needs to have the ASHA prerequisite. If you're a Grad Plus, there's some flexibility on when you take those, but we really encourage you to take them sooner rather than later because they are foundational to the kinds of learning you're going to need to do as a graduate student and even as an undergraduate. So for undergraduates, we really prefer to see these taken early. Um, you have to have a physics or chemistry, so this is the physical science. It needs to have a physics or chemistry prefix. You need to have a biological science. This has to have a bio prefix. Um, so for example, if you had anatomy and physiology of the speech and hearing mechanism, did that teach you bio? Yes, but it does not count. It can't be a speech pathology course, and it has to have a bio prefix. It can be anything. It could be the bio of baseball. I don't know. Um, but it has to have a bio prefix. A social behavior science, often we're looking for intro to psych, but it doesn't have to be intro to psych. It just needs to be social behavioral science. And ASHA, if you Google this, ASHA will show you samples of lists of the kinds of courses that fit these criteria. And then you do need a statistics course, not AP course. It needs to be a college level statistics course. All of these need to be college level. They need to be a 3.0 or higher. So you need to have at least one class in each of these areas that's a 3.0 or higher, a B or higher. So for example, if you started as a chemistry major and it wasn't a good fit and you have some maybe D's and C's in chemistry, as long as you have one chemistry with a B or higher, it will count to meet this prerequisite. And these are prerequisites that ASHA says. ASHA through CEA accredits graduate programs. They don't have requirements at the undergraduate level, except they say students should have these 4 foundational courses in preparation for their undergraduate training, whatever that might look like at a particular school. A lot of the schools, have very similar kinds of courses, which cover kind of these areas that are our CDIS prerequisites. So speech and language science, audiology and hearing science, anatomy and physiology of the speech and hearing mechanism, language development, phonetics, and phonology. So, um, these 5 need to be done. If you're coming to us from an undergrad program, um, odds are you have more than these 5. But you want to have at least these 5, and these are the 5 you'll get if you're entering into our Grad Plus program. So those are the CSD prerequisites. You want a 3.0 in each of these or higher as well if you're when you're applying to our graduate program. So for our Grad Plus program, it's a 3-year program. It would start in fall of 2026. You'd complete the prerequisite courses for the first year and then join the incoming class in the fall of 2027. And that leads us to our, okay, so what does the 2-year graduate program look like? Again, it's 60 unit graduate program, 80 units if you're completing the Grad Plus pathway. It's 24-month full-time in person. It is, some people, students do work part-time, um, but it is hard to work and go to school because there's a lot of commitments. In addition to coursework, there are things you have to be on campus to do. So we call it a full-time in-person program. It's 6 semesters. So fall, spring, fall, fall, spring, fall. Degree conferral is in August. That has not been an issue with our alumni finding jobs that start in August and September. Um, but we do that to help students be more competitive in the externship placements. We're finding more and more employers want students with more experience. They don't like them at the end of the first year because they don't have enough experience. It's hard to fit into externships in that second year without having that summer. Um, and so we go through the second summer. And that makes room for the training. We have 6 on-campus clinics, quote unquote, because not all of them are seen in Truesdale in our building. They're not on campus, but they are managed and supervised by our on-campus supervisors, so they're considered on-campus clinics. There you go. Students are assigned to 6 of the 10. We have 10 students are assigned to 6. We do try to think about what you're interested in and ask you, but we can't always accommodate your preferences. Um, Students complete 2 full-time externships. One is always in the schools because for CTC you have to have one in the schools. So everybody is in the schools. For the second one, it could be in the schools. If you're like, I want to work in the schools, that's what I'm going to do, period, no question. That's what I want to do. Then it may be a second school, but it would be a different school. So let's say maybe one semester you were in the elementary and the next time you're in a high school. But it's not the same school. We want to make sure you get a different kind of experience. Uh, so some people will have 2 school placements, some people will have a school placement, and then what we call a community-based placement. So it could be a rehab, it could be a medical center, it could be a private practice, it could be just a different, someplace where they're offering speech therapy services that are just not a school. Um, we place you in your externships. You do not have to find your own externship. We work very closely and have good relationships, and we have contracts with individuals in the community who can do the supervision. We want to be careful about who we place our students with and make sure they're getting a good quality externship experience. And so you do not have to find your externship. We will place you. Our goal is to get you your externship so you can get your hours and you can graduate and get your experience you need to be prepared for your clinical fellow, which comes after you graduate. So that's our primary goal, find you an externship, get you your hours, get you your experience. Um, we will do our best if we can to accommodate any particular requests that you have for place and location, but we cannot promise anything because our goal again is to get you an externship. They're very competitive, they're very hard to get. And so sometimes you got to take what you can get. But we will listen to what you want, and if we can accommodate, we will, but we can't always do that. We can't promise anything. This is a list of our specialty clinics that are offered through the university. So adult neuro, fluency, dysphagia voice, childhood speech sound disorders, autism. You can see all of those there. Again, most of these, our faculty is supervising at least in some sections of these. And so again, you're bridging class and clinic. We do have some adjunct faculty who teach academic and clinical courses. We pick those individuals very carefully to make sure that they are um, providing the kind of education that we feel is important. The one I'll kind of talk a little bit more about is the ACE, alternate clinical experience. So ASHA allows up to, I believe it's 75 hours of simulated alternate clinical experiences. And so our ACE clinic is a way for you to get a simulated experience, earn hours, and practice kind of these general clinical skills that can then be generalized to other clinics. So report writing and goal writing and looking at a case and understanding the critical information and doing it in a low stakes environment with other people who are considering the same case. So it's a way for you to develop core clinical skills, particularly in the early stages of your clinical experience. That's very mentored, very sheltered, while still thinking about clinical cases. Um, so those are our specialty clinics. So some highlights, we talked about our Grad Plus pathway, which, again, you're in grad school. Um, we have a Spanish bilingual certification program that's run by Dr. Comboy, primarily focuses on children. Um, so you would take students who participate in the certificate, take a class with her on Spanish and speech pathology. And she also places you in one of your externships and make at least one and make sure that you are placed with SLP who is bilingual and bilingually trained so they know what you need to do for people who are bilingual and what's best practice for individuals with bilingual. So that she's very careful about placing you. As we talked about our specialty clinics, bridge class and clinic, everybody does complete a comprehensive exam, and we do a case study based comprehensive exam. So in your first semester, you will get the cases that are going to be on your comprehensive exam, and you can start building your response to the case over the next 2 years. So you can be thinking about the cases that you're actually taking the classes that apply to each case. And at the end, you do a oral presentation and defense of your response to the case. We have the Parkinson's disease therapy program, which is one run by Ms. Schuler and takes place off campus, where she's working with older adults who have Parkinson's and helping improve their communication abilities. We have the UR Project Teammates, which is a collaboration between the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders, and the School of Education. This is one of Dr. Comboy is one of the PIs, and it's training that is done collaboratively with the teachers and the SLP graduate students. And then we have some scholarship opportunities. During the admissions process, we look for scholarships for if you're an exceptional candidate, we provide you scholarships. We don't know how much, it depends on the applicant pool and how much scholarship money we have in a given year, but we do look for that opportunity. We have graduate assistantships. They can be teaching assistantships. They can be research assistantships where you do a certain number of hours over the course of the semester to provide support. So for example, I've had TAs for my neuro course, and they just basically really served as support for learning. They did case studies with students. They did review sessions to help the students grasp the material. Sometimes for undergrad courses, I've used teaching assistants to grade, or do initial grading, and then I would review when they had questions. It just really depends on the class and the instructor. And then clinical assistantships, these are providing assistance in the clinic. A lot of times this is related to managing the audio video system. Every therapy room has a camera, and it has every video has a camera and a microphone. So as a supervisor, I can watch from a computer in the clinic or in my office, which is just down the hall. But clinical assistants turn the record, and we record everything, because that way, if there are questions, if there are something the student has to look over again or transcribe, or an exceptional example that we want to share in class, we have a record of it. And so the clinical assistants, one of their big job is managing the video, turning the recordings on and off. And there are other jobs as well, things that need to be done around the clinic. But these are opportunities for some additional scholarship and funding. Okay, so that's kind of the graduate program in a nutshell. In terms of the actual CSD and CDIS admissions, CDIS is our abbreviation for our program. It's the same as CSD. So the admissions process, we run it through CDCAS, the central application system that many programs use. Our application will open on October 1st and close on February 1st. So try to get those in early, but definitely no later than January. You will be asked to submit a personal essay, and we'll give you a prompt that you need to answer or address in your essay. A minimum cumulative GPA of 3.0 is required to be reviewed. Your application for us to look at it as an admissions committee, your minimum cumulative GPA has to be 3.0 as calculated by CDCAS. So make sure that you know what CDCAS information CDCAS is sending us. Because what you think may be a little different from what they calculated based on different, especially if you have multiple transcripts, and things like that. So make sure you know what they're sending. 3 letters of recommendation, at least 2 by professors for recent grads, preferably 3 people. You want people who can speak to your academic potential, and your ability to succeed in graduate school. If you are post-graduation, if it's been a while, or you're not a CSD grad, you still want to try to find people who can speak to your professional or academic potential. So not personal recommendations, no family members, no family friends. This is people who have observed you in work settings or in learning settings that can speak to the kind of learner you are and your potential to learn in grad school. We do need your official transcripts sent to CDCAS. Do not send them to the university. Do not send them to the department. Everything needs to go through CDCAS. And they must include your fall 2025 grades. So when you request your transcripts, there may be a little button that says hold for grades. You want to hold for fall grades, because we need to see your fall grades to get a full picture of your potential. So submit official transcripts to CDCAS, including your fall 2025 grades. The GRE is 100% optional. So if you do take the GRE, it must be sent directly to CDCAS. Okay, so that's the process. Stay connected. So CDIS admissions at Redlands, CDIS_admissions@redlands.edu is an email that if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you're, that's where you can send your email, and we monitor that pretty closely. You'll submit your applications through CDCAS starting October 1st. We have a tour of the Truesdale Clinic online that you can see here, and you can watch, get familiar. We do have info sessions like this that are live, or they're online, but they're live. So, and they are likely to be other people there besides, so alumni or students, and they'll be able to take questions and answers. So if you'd like more information, you could attend the info sessions. We'll also have an in-person info session on October 7th, and that will be on campus. If you want more information about our info sessions and to stay on a list to be informed when those dates are released, and that information becomes available, you can email CDIS_admissions@redlands.edu for more information. Thank you very much. I hope you found this helpful, and enjoy the rest of your day.